You're listening to a Soul One podcast.
Well, this is one of my favorite days on our podcast because the Oscar nominations just came out and we are going to talk about them, Taylor.
Yep, we're going to give our totally uninformed hot takes. I guess they're not completely uninformed because we, between the two of us, have seen a lot of the movies.
Most of them, I'd say.
Most of them. I think we're farther ahead this year than most years.
Definitely.
So we're not completely uninformed, but I say uninformed in the sense that like I feel like the Oscars are more of a lottery than you feel like, because you feel like you can game the system, and when we do our Oscar ballot, you always come out pretty far ahead. But for me, I feel like after all these years, I still don't really know what the Academy's doing. So anyways, it's going to be kind of like almost like our predictions episode, but also just giving our hot takes on the nominations.
And our annual Oscars pool will be back. It's not going to be posted yet. I want to kind of post it a little bit closer to the actual Academy Awards. I feel like right now is a little too early. But we will talk about that in the coming weeks, because I think the Oscars are right at the beginning of March this year.
I want to say March 5th.
It's something like that. It's like it's whatever that first Sunday is.
The second, March 2nd.
Second, there you go. So probably in a week or two, we'll put out, so we get a kind of about a month for people to kind of vote and enter. So it won't be out as of today, but we will get it up on our website and put it out on social media soon. So this is kind of our first kickoff for that.
For our new listeners who didn't come over from the old show, the Oscar pool is exactly what it sounds like. You just vote for who you think is going to win the Oscar in each category, and whoever has the most wins gets to produce an episode. And Mike, this year, are we also going to do whoever gets the lowest in honor of the person who got 0 that one year?
In honor, yes. The I think it's the Katie last place trophy, which means you get to also produce an episode. So yeah, we've been running this since 2019. So I'll just quickly run through our winners here. Our 2024 winner was Ruth. Our 2023 winner was Ruth. Our 2022 winner was Tyler Vance. 2021 was Cody. 2020 Moira, and 2019 Austin.
There you go. So you too can become a producer. The original prize was that you could come on and host an episode, but everyone hated it. Everyone hated
that. It made people not want to enter. So we changed it to you can produce your own episode, meaning you can just tell us what you want us to talk about, and we will do it.
But hey, if you want to come on the show, we'll let you do that. But so far, no one has taken us up on that offer.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, Mike, just interrupt real quick. Tyler Vance has been on the show many of times, and yet did not come on for his Oscar episode, I don't think.
I know of this list, I think Austin's the only one who actually produced an episode.
Everyone's else, I'm not interested. Whatever. Yeah, I'm here for the glory.
Like, I'm here for the glory. Yeah, that's right. Or now there's finishing last place. Right. So
a different kind of glory.
Or last, we'll give you that opportunity. Actually, you know what? Katie did take advantage of it because
the Barbie episode.
The Barbie episode was her.
And I think Ruth also curated the
2023
Barbie
one.
Yeah, that was the only year aside from Tyler. But
that's right.
Anyways, that's what you have to look forward to. And progressively, I've been doing better and better every year, and it comes to a shock to both of us how I just keep
last year.
Yep, I just keep kind of creeping up there somehow, and truly, I just go on vibes and vibes alone.
So we'll be announcing that in a couple of weeks, and you'll be able to go online or our social media and enter. And again, it's a fun opportunity to produce your own episode or come on if you want. Maybe we'll force at one point in time Tyler Vance to come on here just to do an Oscars thing, something that he wants. Just
a retro,
like, someone's
a retroactive.
That's right. That's right. Hop in your time machine, Tyler, and get on here. Yeah, but we're going to go through all these nominations. Taylor, you were saying, and because I've been feeling sick this weekend, I don't remember if you said this on air or off air, so I apologize if I'm about to repeat myself the past 5 minutes. Did you say on air that you don't feel you don't feel that strongly enough to say there are snubs, or was that off air?
I don't have the excuse of being sick. I literally cannot.
You can't. Remember. I don't remember if we just had this conversation 2 minutes ago or 12 minutes ago.
I think it was off air.
Okay. You said you don't have snubs, but I have a few.
Not this year. Also, I haven't seen. I thought one snub, and this is an uneducated snub opinion. I thought The Last Showgirl was going to have some Oscar nominations only because I felt like there was a ton of buzz. But then Nicole, and I apologize, Nicole. I saw your text. It was a week ago. I still haven't texted you back. Don't be mad at me. But Nicole was like, I'm not surprised. Like it doesn't deserve any award. And Nicole has a very good sense of movies. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was going to be a snub, but then Nicole's comment made me think maybe it's not going to be a snub. Well, and then, go ahead.
I have a couple questions for you, though.
Sure.
Because I noted a few things. Do you think Nosferatu got enough?
We'll have to go down the categories. I think did it not get nominated in all the production awards?
I can give you a brief rundown for Nosferatu, because that was something I wanted to ask you about. So it did receive a nomination for cinematography.
Yep.
Costume design.
Yep.
Production design.
Yep.
So all its other stuff. Hair and makeup.
Yep.
And I think that's it. Like, I think it was just those 4. Like, not Best Picture, not Best Director. I don't know how you felt about the sound of that movie, but I thought that was one of the better sound design movies, and it didn't get that.
Sound design that's a snub. Even though it's one of my favorite movies of 2024, I'm not surprised given how the Academy normally responds to horror movies. Right. And The Substance did so well this year that I think for the Academy to nominate 2 horror movies for Best Direct, because The Substance did it not get Best Director?
It definitely got a Best Picture nomination.
Yeah.
Substance for sure did. And then I'll pull up Director, because that's a good point.
So I guess
I think Substance is in there for Best Director.
I feel like personally it is a snub, but also knowing how the Academy works, sort of. And I would say I'm not surprised.
To the Academy's credit, I mean, The Substance and Nosferatu do have a lot of nominations. So it's not like they were ignoring. And again, I mean, Emilia Perez and Wicked 2 musicals, like, they clearly went above and beyond to like different categories. Like, they clearly are taking it seriously to like nominate a bunch of different things. But there are some nominations I question in here for a couple different reasons. Now, having not seen a few of these movies, I'll obviously catch up. But I have some issues with movies like A Complete Unknown, only because we've seen these a million times. So unless you're doing something completely new and innovative with this genre, what else is there left to do with the music genre? Like, I don't know anything about Bob Dylan. Is that who it is?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about him, but I just assume that drugs and alcohol ruined his life. Like, I'm just assuming that, and maybe it's wrong to assume, but I mean, also that Robbie Williams movie with him being an ape is nominated for something, and it's just like, it's nominated for visual effects. Again, I guess what it's going up against, but it's going up against the Planet of the Apes movie.
They got lots of monkeys.
They got a bunch of monkeys. Planet of the Apes should win that.
What is that? What is that? A planet full of apes?
What is that? Just a movie just about a planet with a bunch of apes on it? I have a lot of rants, and that's one of them.
Okay, so A Complete Unknown. Remind me, Mike. Nominated for Best Picture, correct?
Best Picture, Timothée Chalamet is nominated, which we'll get to in a second, but when we go through the list. But Complete Unknown is also nominated for Best Director.
There's something about the Academy just loves a good music biopic, because think of the year that Bohemian Rhapsody just completely dominated, or at least it felt like it dominated.
And then Rocket Man got nothing.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely nothing, which is a far superior movie.
I haven't seen it yet. That's actually a movie that I do want to see. I like Bob Dylan. I think it has more to do about his politics, Mike, and how he is making the transition from folk to electric, and how the changing tides of music influence. So I think it's a little bit more of a nuanced biopic than the typical drugs and alcohol. But
because
go on.
In the trailer, Timothée Chalamet has got his boozy face on, and he's being carried out of somewhere. So I'm just saying that maybe that has something to do with something else, but I'm just saying.
I'm sure it's like part of the... I'm sure drugs and alcohol are part of the story, but I think it has more to do about his career. But I could be wrong. I haven't seen it yet. Timothée Chalamet worked very hard in promoting that movie, and with some questionable fashion choices. But I am looking forward to seeing that one. I have to reserve judgment. But I do agree, Mike. It's kind of like, okay, another biopic. And also, this might be very controversial, Mike. And this is not a fully formed thought, so I reserve the right to change my mind in the future / at the end of this episode. But biopics, I don't like to win for a best picture nomination. It seems a little lazy, because it's like you have so much source material with a biopic that, I don't know, it seems more a greater technical feat, a greater artistic feat to do something from scratch. And this is kind of, remember, we had this conversation, I think last week, maybe the week before, about adapted screenplay versus original screenplay and why are they separate categories. But like, I don't know, like a biopic, like kind of like what you're saying, it's what's the word? It's a road well traveled at this point.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
For someone to win, like, oh, they won the best actor award for being X in this biopic. It's like you had someone to go off of. Mm-hmm. You were like reading someone's homework. You weren't creating a character out of thin air. I don't know. That's, again, this is a half-formed thought. I don't want to be held to this opinion, but I guess that's where I'm kind of going with your comment with, oh, haven't we seen enough music biopics? I think keep making music biopics, but you're right. Like, is it really, are they best picture worthy? I guess is the question.
I think that I have my own bias against it, because I just think they're all like kind of the same story, and I don't like music. Yeah, and I don't really care about these people's lives. Like, it's not as interesting to me to watch something about Kim Kardashian as it is to watch something about Steve Rogers, a made-up person who's Captain America. Like, I'm more interested in fiction and kind of things like that than I am about the real life of some, like,
except for this Blake Lively feud that you're very invested in.
Obviously, except for that. Except for with that, that's only the first time in my life that I've been. I don't want to into this.
Mike, I don't want to completely derail this conversation with the Oscars, but since you brought it up last episode, I've been watching like reels on Facebook about it, and like the people reviewing the video footage. Did you see the video footage that came out?
Of course I saw the video footage. You don't think I watched that a million times?
And analyzed it. So that I too have become emotionally invested in the Blake Lively and whatever that guy's name is. And again, we're not going to go down a rabbit hole, but I am Team Justin on that video content. Are you Team Blake after watching the video?
I think I stand by my previous comments that I think they're
both at fault. They're both at fault.
Trash bags. I do not think this video is is super damaging to her case, and I don't think it necessarily helps his case out. I still go back to it's irrelevant because there's a piece of paper that's signed. So in this particular scenario, it's hard to tell exactly what's going on. A video out of context means less to me than the piece of paper that has your signature on it.
So just for a little bit of background, everyone can go back and listen to like our listen to the episode from last week or the week before. But the video in question is unreleased raw footage. I think that's the right way to describe it, right, Mike?
Footage,
like raw footage, right. Unreleased raw footage that didn't make it into the final movie. Blake claims something happened on set, and Justin released this video. I think his name's Justin. Released this video to say this is the event in question. You can clearly see from this video that she's in the wrong. So
right. Well, and is that the event in question? Question
sure,
one.
Sure.
Is this a full? Do we get the full context of everything going on? No, we only get however long the video is. Like, there's a lot into that. So I think that this doesn't necessarily prove anything for her, but I don't think it disproves anything.
This is just a very quick question for you, Mike, because you work in theater. So theater is very different because you see everything on stage as it's happening. There isn't raw footage, but what the he said, she said of it all for this video is that Blake is claiming because there was no audio for this montage, they weren't in character. And then other people are arguing, well, they were acting in a scene, so they were in character. So I feel like even though there's no audio, you are acting for the scene and you're going to say things in character. Or am I crazy?
Well, or unless it's a walkthrough for camera purposes, or if it's a rehearsal of the scene, you're not necessarily in full character.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I understand exactly what she's saying because you do the same thing in theater where you'll walk through a scene and you'll go through the motions, but you're not putting everything into it. You're doing it for blocking purposes, for movement purposes. We would do it all the time to generally to work out a problem. Like, we got to move from here to here. We got to get this thing here to here, and the blocking isn't working. So let's walk through the scene a bunch of times. Right. And then there's no need to you might say your lines here and there, but you don't go through it at 100%. Yeah.
So it's exactly what it goes back to exactly what you're saying, because we're only seeing a very small clip and it's out of context.
That's right.
We have no idea if it's it's just a functional scene where
they do so many things for camera where they set it up to stage it. If it's a staging rehearsal, then that makes a lot of sense. But again, I just don't know. I don't know the context of this, and I'm sure they both probably would say the context is different, right?
Of course.
One's going to say one thing and the other one's going to say the other.
Maybe this is a good opportunity to go into the acting nominations.
What a great segue. As we talk about these two troubled actors, let's go into
who are not nominated for Oscars.
No, nor should either of them should be nominated, quite frankly. So let's do this. Let's dive into what a segue, Taylor. That's great. That's going to win Segue of the Year in our own awards show. Actor in a leading role. We're going to start there. I'm just going to go in order as I have it open, so there's no real I don't know. I'm just kind of doing this. So, actor in a leading role. The nominees are Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice.
That seems fair to me.
A lot of movies you've seen.
A lot of movies I've seen and a lot of movies you've seen. Except for The Brutalist, which...
The Brutalist.
I'll watch half, you watch half, and we'll come together and compare notes.
Yeah, we need to have a Brutalist plan here, because I don't know how you're going to fit The Brutalist in during George's naps.
It's 3.5 hours for those who are not aware. Also, Mike, there's been a lot of controversies surrounding The Brutalist that I don't know if we have time to go into today, but we likely will at some point, God willing, watch The Brutalist and we can kind of dive in then. But so I thought that this movie was a biopic based on a real person. Mike, did you know it's not? It's completely fictional.
No.
They're advertising it like it's a biopic. It's not a biopic. It's a fake story. It's not real.
I thought this was based on a real thing.
Why too.
Is it 3.5 hours long?
Why is it 3.5 hours long? And why are they advertising it as a historical epic? That makes you think that it's a biopic about a real person.
That's right. But this person didn't exist?
No. I think so. The Adrien Brody is playing a Hungarian refugee who becomes an architect in America, and he's an architect within this architectural style called brutalism. So like the brutalism is real, like that style of architecture is real, but the character that Adrien Brody plays apparently is not real. I don't even know if he's based on a real person.
Okay.
So
I thought this was a historical movie. Like I thought this was based on
and apparently
a person I've never heard of, but
apparently reviewers thought that too, and then they went home and Googled the person and he's not real. So I don't know if that means the movie is so good at trying to capture real. Anyways, there's a lot of controversy around being authentic, and now there's reports of the use of AI, which again, like that's a whole rabbit hole. We'll have to go into it if we review the movie, because I don't think the use of AI, and I'm not an AI supporter, Mike. You know this. I've been on record. I don't support the use of AI in the arts.
You do not support AI. That is
so there's claims, which the director has said is correct. They used AI in post-production to fix Hungarian accents to make them sound more authentic. And so that's been very controversial. So we'll have to go into that later.
How can you be nominated for the best actor if your accent had to be fixed in post?
But like, why even fix it? No offense to native Hungarian speakers, but the amount of people watching this movie are going to have no idea what a Hungarian accent sounds like. He could have been speaking with a German accent, and I'm sure broad swaths of the population wouldn't have noticed.
No. Okay, well, there you go. There's the Brutalist for you. We just talked about A Complete Unknown. We're going to see it. Talk about Timothée Chalamet, obviously. Ralph Fiennes. Sing Sing. I did Sing Sing. Colman Domingo's great. Sing Sing is really underrepresented. I think this is its only nomination. Maybe actually the original song might have gotten on here, but Colman Domingo definitely well deserving of the nomination. And then Ralph Fiennes and Sebastian Stan. You got your Conclave on here, which you want,
and The Apprentice.
Sebastian Stan. There you go.
So I'm happy with that. I have no complaints. Mike, did you see a headline? I saw a headline that said Conclave was snubbed, but I don't.
Got 8 nominations.
Huge. That's great. Yeah. What else did people want it nominated for?
I don't know. I mean, Emilia Perez got the most with 13. And that's a lot of discussion about that.
That's a lot of controversy. So I was not going to watch this movie, largely because the story. Well, to be frank, the movie wasn't really on my radar. And then it was on my radar because of all the controversy. And then I saw a clip of it with the actors singing. And it was so bad, Mike, that I'm like, no, I'm not going to watch this movie. But now, because it's been nominated for Best Picture, and along with everything else, we're going to have to watch it. Have you seen a clip of it?
I watched the first 5 minutes of it.
And then you didn't finish it.
No, because I finally was like, I'm just going to turn it on and see what
it's on Netflix. No cost.
It's on Netflix. Yeah, that's right. So I popped it on. I watched for about 5 minutes and I went, oh no, this is not very good. It's a musical. It has some interesting cinematography choices, which I think will win over some people. Like I will even say it's like interestingly shot. I particularly don't think the singing is any good.
It's the classic case of them hiring non-singers. I don't understand. You're making a musical. I want the songs to sound good. I don't need amateur hour with the singing.
I agree. Otherwise, why are you doing it as a musical? Like if you're not going to sing well, why pick a musical?
Just make it a normal movie. Although Selena Gomez is a singer. Does she sing in it? Does she sound good?
I didn't get to her.
Okay.
Like I don't know. Like I didn't you know what's even funnier? I since have forwarded trying to find Selena Gomez and I can't. So I was unsuccessful. I haven't found her. She's in there somewhere. Can't locate Selena Gomez.
So that's been nominated for Best Picture. Do you have the list up?
And 13 other things.
Yeah, don't even list them. All the major,
other all the major awards. Like definitely supporting actress, lead actress. It's like all the production awards it's nominated for. Like it's 13 awards, ties the most amount with things like the third Lord of the Rings movie and other stuff. I can't name them, but there's a bunch of things that had 13 nominations, and they're one of them.
And this is it's leading. Like that's the most nominations this year, correct?
That's right. Yeah, they have 13, but then like I know Conclave has 8. Someone's at 10. I think it might be The Brutalist is at 10. Conclave and Wicked and something else are all at 8. Complete Unknown has a bunch. So there's a bunch.
Sorry, Mike. I had to cough just now, so I muted myself.
We caught a bit of it.
Oh, okay.
So you muted almost all of it.
I was not quick enough. I apologize, dear listeners, for hearing my partial cough. I'm much better at muting myself for coughs and sneezes, though. I'll give that to me. So what we might as well go through the Best Actress nominations.
Well, yeah. So that was Best Actor. So we can do Best Actress next. So we've got Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez, Mickey Madison for Anora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here.
Again, I'm not surprised with this category. I think Nicole, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I know that she was a big fan of Baby Girl, which is a movie that it's still on my watch list, but now because it doesn't have very many nominations, I'll probably see other movies before I see Baby Girl. But I think some people are feeling, Nicole included, but again, she can correct us. I think people feel like Nicole Kidman has been snubbed. Have you heard that too, Mike?
I've heard that, yeah. And I haven't seen I'm Still Here, so I can't really speak to that.
No, I can't.
But I have, since your reviews, watched both The Substance and Anora, both well-deserving nominations. Like, I really feel, personally, that this should be Demi Moore's Oscar. Like, I think she should win it. But again, when you have someone from Emilia Perez in here, like, they swept the Golden Globes. You don't know where that's going to go. Honestly, like, even though it was a good performance, the one that right now of the movies I've seen that I would take out would be Cynthia Erivo from Wicked. Not that she had a bad performance. It was a good performance. It's just, again, I haven't seen it, but Nicole Kidman could have been in here. I still think that I would have nominated Zendaya from Challengers for this category. Maybe you could say she's supporting and you put her in there. Okay, fine, but she didn't get a nomination. Challengers has nothing on here. And at least directing wise and her performance, like, I think that was one of the better directed movies I saw last year. And I think her performance was really solid. So to me, yeah, Nicole Kidman, I think Zendaya was snubbed. But yeah, I haven't seen I'm Still Here though. So I don't know.
A bit of a tight race. I also haven't seen I'm Still Here, and I couldn't even tell you what this movie's about.
Well, neither can I. And wasn't I'm Still Here
the name of a Bob Dylan biopic with Cate Blanchett?
Well, yes, and also wasn't it a weird movie that Joaquin Phoenix did where he pretended to have a breakdown and a beard for like a couple years and filmed himself? Because I'm pretty sure Casey Affleck directed it.
Yes, yeah, that sounds about right. It was also
called I'm Still Here. Yeah.
That sounds about right.
So we got a lot of I'm Still Here, so that's why I don't really know anything about this movie.
Maybe that's not the name of the Bob Dylan biopic that I'm thinking of, but yes, definitely the Joaquin Phoenix, Casey Affleck vehicle. Yeah, okay, so I guess we're gonna have to see I'm Still Here. I want to say it's an international movie, but again, I could be wrong. Do you know anything about this movie, Mike?
No.
There's always a couple movies that I've heard the title and literally that's it, or I haven't even heard of the title. That's this movie for me this year.
Yeah, I do not know anything about I'm Still Here, so we'll see. Let's move on to the next category, actor in a supporting role. So for this one, we've got Yura Borisov for Anora.
Well deserved.
Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain.
Well deserved.
Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown.
Haven't seen it yet, can't say.
Guy Pearce for The Brutalist.
Haven't seen it yet, can't say.
And then Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice.
Well deserved. Okay. So I think between what I've seen and the buzz around the other movies, I'm not upset with this category. I don't think anyone was snubbed. Maybe people are feeling like Stanley Tucci was snubbed from Conclave. Maybe
that's what I've heard. Yeah.
Okay.
That's Stanley Tucci's the snub. Yeah.
How do you feel about this? I feel like that's a pretty stacked.
Well, in terms of who the actors are, you know, I'm only not familiar with one of them, but I have seen Nora, so it's not as though I didn't see that performance. Yeah, I think it's going to be, once I see The Brutalist and Complete Unknown, that'll kind of help fill in the blanks here, but I think it's going to be a pretty tight race. Like, I don't see a front runner because the buzz around The Brutalist, The Apprentice, A Real Pain, A Complete Unknown, like, these are all, you know, lots of these movies got nominated for a lot of different things, and I know Kieran Culkin won the Golden Globe, so we'll have to see. Like, whoever wins the Screen Actors Guild Award might tell us something, but I do think this is going to be a pretty tough category because, yeah, there were some great performances this year.
So now we need our
actresses.
Role. Yeah.
So these are the supporting role. We've got Monica Barberio for A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez.
I've said this before, I have less strong feelings about the supporting cast. I know you don't feel the same way, but I just feel like I can't think of any supporting roles that would have been snubbed. Like, I can't think of any movies I've seen this year where I think like, ooh, that they really should have been nominated for Best Actor or Best Supporting Actress.
This is where I really think it's Zoe Saldana's going to win it.
Like, just because of the buzz around the movie?
Yes, and I think because this is usually the first category they do, I think this is going to kick off quite the night for Emilia Perez, because I really do think Zoe Saldana is going to win this.
All right, we shall see. I don't think she's a bad actress. I just have heard such mixed things about this movie.
I mean, the first 5 minutes weren't great. So we'll kind of see as we watch the whole thing. I do want to move on because there's a couple categories I want to focus on here. So first, for cinematography, I want to go through the movies that are nominated for cinematography. So we've got The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu. So Nosferatu's up for cinematography, which we kind of talked about a bit. Dune Part 2, I think getting in there for cinematography makes a lot of sense. For me, Emilia Perez, this is the category where I might see it being nominated and being less of an issue, because I do think it was a pretty well shot 5 minutes. So it looks like they're doing some interesting things. I have never heard of Maria either. I don't know what this is.
No, I haven't heard of that one either. I'm kind of surprised Substance wasn't included. I thought it had really beautiful cinematography. I thought that movie was well shot.
The Substance, and I do think Challengers, this is where I would have put
and Conclave.
Both of those. And yeah, even for that matter, Conclave. So again, maybe The Brutalist is phenomenal, but it's interesting that Maria, I think it's its only nomination is for cinematography. Dune Part 2 has a couple other production nominations, but again, cinematography. These aren't some of the heavy hitters. No. You know, it's Emilia Perez and The Brutalist. Yes, heavy hitter. Nosferatu got about, I think, 5 or 6 nominations. So it's just odd that these two are in there, which makes me think they must be quite phenomenally shot.
I think that's tough. I think Nosferatu was very well shot, but I also want to be careful that I'm not being biased. But of the movies that were listed, I would say it goes to Nosferatu.
Yeah, I mean, that one was definitely well shot. So then we move on to costume design. Okay, so this is one of my other rants I have. Okay,
when they use real life clothes, when real life clothes get nominated, like Emilia Perez.
Except it's not nominated. Emilia Perez is not nominated.
Okay, good.
So the nominations are Wicked, Nosferatu, Gladiator 2, Conclave, and A Complete Unknown. Okay, so Wicked makes a lot of sense. A lot of interesting costumes, lots of design, lots of cool things they did. Nosferatu, I agree. I think his costuming was interesting. I thought most of the characters
attention to detail.
Yes, attention to detail, really strong. Gladiator 2, fine. I don't think this is a very good movie. I don't think it should be nominated for anything, but fine. It has a uniqueness to it. Conclave, I think there's a lot of interesting things about that movie when it came to costumes. A Complete Unknown is set like what, 40 years ago?
1963 or whatever.
They're just wearing clothes. Like it's not even a period piece. They're just wearing clothes.
And I think, again, this is a case of you can literally just look at pictures of Bob Dylan from the 60s and like be like, yep, that's a corduroy jacket. I'll go get it. I don't know. Like, I guess
you literally could find that now in any store.
Yeah. I guess the idea with costuming is that, you know, a good costuming creates a cohesive world. I'm with Mike. I'm with you. I don't think regular clothes should be nominated. I guess I'm a little bit more forgiving for Complete Unknown because it is taking place in the 60s and they're trying to show you like a slice of culture, and if they got the costuming right to do that, it just seems when you're comparing it to other movies, give it to Nosferatu or give it I think the Wicked costumes are a bit ugly from what I've seen. Unpopular opinion, I'm sure. But that, I guess, there's more technical feat than like picking out a corduroy jacket.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. Yeah, that's sort of my point. That's exactly it. Let's move on to another big category here, Best Director.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got Sean Baker for Anora, Brady Corbett for The Brutalist, James Mangold for Complete Unknown, Jacques Adriles? I can't say that name. Amelia Perez and Coraline Fargeet for The Substance.
This is a category where I'm just like, this could go anyway.
To me, there doesn't seem to be a front runner because again, like Amelia Perez is in there, The Substance for sure, The Brutalist, Anora's got a lot of nominations. Again, I think fifth place goes to A Complete Unknown. Personally.
I think Anora's the dark horse because it's more of a kind of like I don't think you could categorize it as an indie movie. Maybe you can, but like it's kind of more of an indie movie. Substance is less of a dark horse because it got so much buzz this year.
Yeah.
But it is a bit of a dark horse because it's a horror genre. And then the front runners, I think, just based on like what I'm hearing is The Brutalist and Amelia Perez, but I don't think The Brutalist is going to get it because of the blowback the director is getting.
That's right.
So that leaves us with Amelia Perez. It's going to be a Green Book year.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how far Amelia Perez goes to getting a lot of wins here. There's just something the Academy loves about that movie, but I do think it's closer than we've seen in previous years, where you can kind of pick it out. So we'll see where that goes. Okay, we'll go on to I'll mention film editing. So that goes to Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, and Wicked. You know, relatively well edited things, I would say. Makeup and hairstyling, Wicked, The Substance, Nosferatu, Amelia Perez, and A Different Man. So there's another rando in
I've
there
heard
makeup and hair.
Interestingly, Sebastian, what's his name? The guy who is my Trump from The Apprentice. Sebastian Stan was in A Different Man.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, that was his second movie of the year, and that makes sense for makeup. So that if you know anything, I don't know enough about the movie to describe it well, but I've seen enough stills to think, yeah, that makes sense. So, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Music. So for score, this is the score, not original song. The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Wicked, The Wild Robot, which is a cartoon.
Do they normally go with the musical when musicals have been nominated?
It doesn't always win for score.
I could see Wicked though.
Yeah, I could see Wicked getting this. Again, certainly what it's up against. Amelia Perez's music doesn't seem to be as good, but that'll be the big controversy. So we'll see what happens there. Okay, Best Picture I want to save till last here. Production design: The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked.
That checks out. I agree with that. I don't think anyone was snubbed.
All right, you ready for rant number 3?
For production design?
Sound. Next category.
I know you feel very strongly about sound and sound mixing. Please go. Please rant.
So here are the nominations for sound: A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, The Wild Robot, and Wicked. Now, when you have a movie that was sound mixed incorrectly, why is it nominated for an Academy Award? Wicked was one of the worst sound produced and mixed movies I have ever seen. Its vocal line was below its music line, and it's whatever you put for all the sound effects.
It's the worst sound mixing since Christopher Nolan's movie with Robert Pattinson.
Tenet? Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay, Mike, I've seen a lot of discourse about Wicked. I have not seen this movie yet. I probably won't. It's really not up my alley. You're the only person, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I am not saying you're wrong, Mike. You are probably very correct about the sound mixing, but I have not seen anyone but you gripe about the sound mixing.
Oh, I know. I'm sitting here yelling and screaming at the clouds, and everyone's like, what is this old man worried about? It's wrong. It was done incorrectly. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I've never in my entire life sat there and been like, what? Like, what is, how can no one hear this but me?
Especially for
it was awful. Awful.
But I guess considering you're the only one who feels that way, that's why they've been nominated for sound.
If it wins for sound, I am going to be so angry. It does not make any sense whatsoever that this is nominated for sound. None whatsoever. It was not sound mixed properly. I'm too ill to do this. All right. Moving on to visual effects. Alien Romulus, Better Man with one monkey, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, many monkeys, Dune Part 2, and Wicked. Sure. Visual effects?
No substance?
No substance for visual effects, no. Which is surprising.
Yeah.
Considering how well...
Because visual effects includes practical effects and CGI, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm surprised that, but okay. Whatever.
Okay, so we've got the 2 writing categories left, and then we'll shift over to Best Picture. So we've got the adapted screenplay first.
Okay.
So adaptive screenplay: A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing are your nominees for
I've just heard about Nickel Boys. I thought that was a 2025 movie. Must have been one of those movies that was released either really early or really late in 2024.
That's right. Yeah. I think really late.
Sounds interesting, about 2 boys who befriend each other in a reformatory school. Does look like an interesting movie. Did not know. What's A Complete Unknown? Are they saying it's adapted from Bob Dylan's life, or is it based on a book?
Assuming it's adapted from Bob Dylan's life is what they're
saying. Does that count as an adaptation? That's always, I find the adaptation rule so funny. And I didn't know that Emilia Perez was adapted. I thought this was just an original, what was it, a stage production? Do you know anything about it? The original source material?
Of which?
Emilia Perez.
No.
Nope, and I will not dignify it with research.
No, well, I have no intention of looking.
You have no horse and voice.
I have no idea what's it based on. Like
I never heard about it until the movie came out. So I have no frame or preference.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Interesting that Nosferatu wasn't nominated.
No, it's not. Which might, it's a bit of a surprise. I mean, I guess that there's Sing Sing's second nomination there, so I'm a little surprised about that. But yeah, I mean, we'll see kind of what comes of that for writing. And then the original screenplay: Anora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5, and The Substance.
I have not heard about September 5.
That's the one about like a terrorist attack happening at like
the Munich Olympics. I wanted
Munich
to see that
Olympics.
movie. I thought that was a 2025 movie. I do want to see that one. I would not say there's any snubs in here. I think Anora is a well-deserved original script. It's interesting that September 5's not an adaptation because it was based on, again, Mike, this is where
Bob
things
Dylan's is,
right?
Like there must have been a book then.
Yeah, like a biography about that time period, because that's just weird. Yeah, that's weird.
Because September 5 would be based on a real event.
Yeah.
And in theory, you've got A Complete Unknown, which is also based on a real event. So there must be a book or something to make that
there
different.
Has to be. Yeah. And then A Real Pain, great. I thought the script was quite good, very realistic. So that's going to be a tricky one. I don't think there's any strong contenders for that.
Yeah, because The Substance is in there, and that's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a real tough one. All right, Best Picture is our final category here. So nominated for Best Picture, Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, Wicked.
Like I said earlier in the show, I think it's going to be between Amelia Perez and The Brutalist. And I think Amelia Perez is going to win. They
definitely have the most. The two of those have the most nominations.
That's my prediction. Who won Best Picture at the Golden Globes? Or I know it's like they have multiple categories.
Separate, yeah. Amelia Perez won one of them for sure.
Right.
I cannot remember if it was The Brutalist. Because Conclave won a big award, but I can't remember if it was Best Drama.
Well, that's my gut telling me. And like I said, I think The Brutalist is getting enough pushback right now, and I don't think the director is doing himself any favors. He's kind of coming off, from what I've heard, he's kind of giving me who's the guy I don't like? He wore the fake nose and played a conductor. Oh my gosh.
You're there. Believe it or not, there's still too many people that could be.
He was in the movie with Lady Gaga and directed that, and we thought we didn't need another version of that movie.
Oh, you're talking about Bradley Cooper?
He's from what I've heard, I'm getting Bradley Cooper vibes from this director. But that might be completely, again, this is a half-formed thought, and I am completely entitled to change course on that. But someone related a story to me about the director at a pre-screening, and I thought, ooh, Bradley Cooper behavior. You know how Bradley Cooper just wants so badly to win an Oscar and takes himself so seriously?
That's right.
That's the vibes I'm getting from this director. But that story was recounted to me secondhand. So the vibes I'm getting are from like a secondhand story. So that's why I reserve the right to change course. But based on what I'm hearing, the Academy doesn't like that. The Academy doesn't like when people campaign too hard for themselves.
No. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I mean, Best Picture to me, that's a bit of a race. So we'll see.
Do you think you really liked Challengers? Do you think that should have been nominated for Best Picture?
Maybe. I don't know if I would go that far. Like, I probably would have nominated it for either cinematography or director, but probably not both. You'd have to kind of sit down and separate what was good about it was camera work and what was direction. But I do think, I think it should have been nominated for at least 3 or 4 awards, with like Zendaya in there and that kind of thing. I think it was one of the better movies I saw last year. I don't know if I would go with Best Picture, just knowing what they're looking for and kind of the scale. But over some of these movies, yes, I would put Challengers in there over a few of these. But again, I've yet to see some of them. For all I know, some of these are really, really fantastic films. Like that, I've now heard of Nickel Boys, and I've now heard of what was the other one?
Maria. I'm still here.
And I'm still here. Like, these are movies I'm going to now seek out and find, and maybe they're very good.
Here's a question for you, Mike. Are you going to try to prioritize any of the foreign language movies?
Well,
that wasn't a genre we went over this episode just because it's not one of the lead categories. I have not heard I feel like most years I hear a splattering about best foreign language or best foreign film, whatever they're called, international. I don't know if they've renamed it. I think they renamed it recently. And normally I'll lead with those ones, but I have not heard about any of the international movies this year.
Well, let me, because normally what I do with both the international and like the shorts is like I kind of watch them eventually, but like a little bit later. So best international film. I mean, Emilia Perez is up for it.
Really?
So it's probably going to win. Yeah, Emilia Perez and I'm Still Here. The Girl with the Needle, The Seed of the Sacred Fig, and Flow are what's nominated. So I think Emilia Perez is winning that.
I have heard a couple about these ones. Flow is animated, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Is it
There's
also
one with the cat?
It's also being nominated for best animated feature.
That's right.
Yeah. They're not, because we only have so much time before the actual Oscars. I don't know if I'm going to make it to foreign picture this year, especially because The Brutalist is going to take me a week.
Emilia Perez and I'm Still Here, probably, because they're nominated for multiple other things, but the other ones probably not. Let's be real here. Emilia Perez is probably winning this. Like, unless there's a massive upset and Emilia Perez just like was nominated for a bunch of things but barely wins anything, which would also be historical. Then yeah, I could see I'm Still Here maybe being that. Like, if there's just a bunch of surprises, but I don't see it happening.
And normally, new listeners of this show wouldn't know this, but I typically like to see a couple documentaries in a year. I did not watch any documentaries, I don't think, in 2024, aside from some true crime stuff on Netflix. So I haven't gone around. I haven't really heard of any of the documentaries this year, and I don't think I'll have a chance to see them. But normally for voting, I try to pick the one that I think is most topical, Mike.
Yes.
If I haven't seen any of them, I think, okay, what is the Academy thinking about? And that's how I pick my documentaries. But
I haven't heard of any of the documentaries this year, which makes it even more random.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see what wins there. Yeah, it's the same with the shorts, the short films.
Oh, I don't even bother. I never bother with the shorts.
I may catch them at some point in time, and I may not. But we'll see. We'll see what comes of that. So before we end off, we'll remind people that our Oscars pool is going to be coming up soon. And as we alluded to earlier, it's very easy. You just fill out your Oscar ballot on our website. You put in your name and email, and then we just announce the winners the day after the Oscars. Or not the day after, but the week. Whatever
the episode airs.
That's when we announce it, and we announce the winner, and we go through the list. And you and I, Taylor, we both enter. So you're competing against fans, but you're also competing against us.
But we've never won. So that's also interesting.
That is also true.
So you don't really have, it's not really that big of a competition against us. That would be interesting. If we won, would we just go for the runner up for the producer, or would we produce our own episode of the show? You produce every week.
You asked me a question I've never thought of. I don't know what we would
if you won, I would have to produce to give you a week off. I would have to figure out how to edit the episode.
Wouldn't that be fun?
An episode edited by you.
The lost episode.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess we would just give it to runner up.
Yeah.
Or no one gets to produce an episode because we won. So why do the extra work,
True.
It's kind of the idea.
But I don't think we're gonna win.
No, I doubt it. So we'll release that in a couple of weeks with all the details. So stay tuned for more of that as we count down to the Oscars, because we're just over a month away. And Taylor, you and I have a big list of films to go through.
Lots of homework.
So we'll get on that, and please listen along. Watch as many Oscar films as you can. Get those ballots in, and we'll see who gets to produce their own episode of You Had Me at Skip It. That'll be a fun time. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Go see some movies.
Thank you for listening to You Had Me at Skip It, a Soul One Arts Inc. podcast. This podcast is produced by Mike Shepard and Austin Spinner Summer. Is a project of Soul One Arts. To learn more about Soul One and all the great work that Soul One is doing in the arts community, especially in film, theater, and other performing arts, visit soul1arts.ca. You can contribute to this podcast by visiting soul1arts.ca and going to the podcast tab. You'll find all the information on You Had Me at Skip It and how you can get your questions read on air each week. Thank you again for listening.